afternoon. Perry Eliadarani with KNWA. We are breaking into your regular programming now, as we do know that FEMA is holding a press conference in response to deadly storms that have happened over the past week. We toss things now over to that press conference as several officials approach the podium. We have Deanne Criswell with FEMA speaking in just a moment, but first we'll toss things over.
So we'll begin now with the mayor.
Thank you. Thanks. First of all, thank you all for being here today, and welcome to City Hall in Rogers, Arkansas, where we still are waiting on power to be turned back on. I want to thank the administrator for being here with us today. The significance of not only her presence here, but the presence of all the folks from FEMA that have come to our region to help us try to start the recovering process. We still have thousands of people without power. We still have folks that have been displaced and are homeless. We have folks that have restored power but don't have gas. There's all sorts of challenges occurring in our community right now. Folks are still hurting. Folks are still homeless and hungry. And we're trying to do what we can as a government in our role to help lessen that blow as best as possible. We should have restoration of all of our traffic signals very soon. I'm very hopeful that it was an under-promised and they'll over-deliver on the 10:30 p.m. projection to have power back on for SWEPCO customers. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. There's a number of people here to talk. We'll have plenty of time to visit with you as we have pressers going forward during the recovery process. So at this time, I'll turn it over to our county judge, Barry Moore.
Thank you. I'll echo what the mayor said. Appreciate all of you being here today. Really appreciate Administrator Criswell, you being here today. And of course, Congressman Womack, Senator Bozeman. I hope this demonstrates to the folks in Benton County how aligned we are on working through what is now a major recovery effort. This extends across the whole county. I mean, we've spent our time here in Rogers today, and what you see here is replicated from Decatur to the lake. We've got people hurting. We've got people without shelter. We've got 87 or so docks overturned over in the lake. And so we have a lot of problems to work on. But knowing that we have this federal backing is extremely reassuring. And now we need to get to work and get this recovery going. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon. First of all, I want to express my appreciation to Administrator Criswell for making the trip down here to view the damage, look everything over. Also, Region 6 Administrator Tony Robinson, who's out of Texas, that came up. I've mentioned before that the very next day or just a few hours later after the storm hit, we had FEMA representatives up here in Arkansas. Yesterday, we were able to put them, along with the Arkansas team, in the air to fly the entire damage area so that we could do some damage assessments, count the houses, look at the houses that were destroyed throughout this whole process. Based on that data, we will be requesting a federal declaration, and that will be coming out very soon and being sent over to FEMA, to the administrator. So once again, we have great partnership with the local, state, federal partners. I think you can see by everybody that's here that we all work together when something happens, and we're going to continue to work together and make sure that we meet the needs of the citizens and we can get the recovery process going as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. First, just on behalf of President Biden and the entire administration, I just want to express our heartfelt condolences to all of the families who have lost loved ones. And then our thoughts are with everybody that has been impacted by the storms that went through Arkansas. I've been here today, right now here in Rogers, to assess the damage so we can get a better idea of what the scope and the scale of the impacts are to the neighborhoods. And I think as I continuously see in many communities, what I saw here today and talked to a few of the people in these neighborhoods is how the neighbors come out and truly help each other. And it shows and demonstrates the true resilience of the communities and how they look out for the ones who are the most vulnerable. And, even as we talk to our first responders, they're going out and supporting these search and rescue efforts in those first days after first hours really after the storm passes, sometimes not even knowing whether or not their own homes are damaged. Just really want to say thank you to all the first responders that helped the people that were impacted. And then as the community comes together and supports each other in helping to clean up, it really does take everybody to help the community on their road to recovery. As I told the governor when I spoke to her a few days ago, as well as when I spoke to her this morning, we are here to make sure that we are bringing the right resources in to assist these communities on their road to recovery. As you heard from the state director, as soon as we receive that request, we will push that through as soon as possible so we can start and jumpstart that recovery process. I think the biggest thing that I want to let people know right now is that even though the storm has passed, the danger has not passed. I want people to take caution, and as they're moving through and helping with the recovery, as they're helping to clean up, that there are still dangers out there. And we want to make sure people are taking care of themselves and their families, and they're keeping each other safe and continuing to look after those that are the most vulnerable in these communities. Even though we've made tremendous progress, or you've made tremendous progress in restoring power, there are still many areas without power. And so if you know of somebody that needs help, please make sure that you're taking the time to look out for them. And as you're going through the cleanup process, make sure that you're documenting the damages that you had to your home, that you're taking photos of the damages. You're going to need those both for your insurance claims as well as to support any other federal support that might become available. And so those are really important steps to take right now. As I told the governor earlier today, we will stand by her and bring in the resources as needed to help all of the communities across Arkansas that have been impacted as they go through this road to recovery. And we will continue to have people on the ground, as we have already since just a few hours after the storm passed, with my Region 6 Administrator, Tony Robinson. He has sent folks down here, and they will stay and help the communities navigate the federal process as they're starting to submit that documentation and understand what the damages are. So thank you.
Is that right?
One or the other.
No, go ahead.
I was going to yield to the age. Here you go ahead.
Thank you.
One of the jobs of an appropriator is to provide oversight, because it's our committee that funds the activities that you're seeing here today. Madam Administrator, it was never my intention to provide oversight based on my own hometown. But let me just tell you, well done. Good job. The FEMA folks are here to help, and they are executing their job the way we, the people, expect them to do it. And as I said just mere hours ago, this is still early in the process. Now, a lot has to be accomplished, and it has to be accomplished safely. And we were very fortunate that this storm didn't produce as many casualties as what it could have. There are factors for that. But we don't want to add to the casualty count because of a misstep on a roof, or a limb under pressure, or some other hardship, some other accident. So be careful out there. But I am grateful that the spirit of this city is evidenced by what's going on in all of the areas hard hit by this storm. It is that spirit that fuels the hope that we all have for a better tomorrow. And that spirit is alive. And we're going to recover. It's going to take a while. But this community is a resilient community. And it is built on this notion of neighbor helping neighbor. I want to personally thank Administrator Criswell for being here, for her firsthand look at the damage that her organization is going to help us sort through. And I want to thank the people and the elected officials behind me, and all of the leaders and other stakeholders that are doing their part to make sure that there's a better tomorrow. Thank you.
Well, we really don't like having Administrator Criswell and Director Robinson being in Arkansas, because that generally means that something bad has happened. And yet when they do show up, they don't do a good job. They do a tremendous job. FEMA is an agency that's just there when we need them, and again has been so helpful for these kind of things throughout Arkansas. The other thing that's so important is her getting out and about. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Every community is unique, and I know that she's committed to doing that. So this is all about us all working together. It's not a Democrat or Republican thing. This is about the federal government working together, standing together when people are in need, and then it goes all the way down through city, county, and all of our government, but most importantly, just people helping people in neighborhoods. That's what's been so impressive this last few days. So thank you, and thank you all so much again for being here and the great work that you do.
Thank you, Senator. We'll take a few questions. Yes.
I wanted to ask the director, your first-hand look at it, how did that change the response, people's response?
It hasn't changed our response. We have had folks on the ground right from the beginning, and our focus has been making sure we understand the scale and the scope of the impacts to the community. We're working with the state director to, help make sure we have the right data so we can process the request quickly, and as soon as we receive it, we'll be able to push that through the system so we can start bringing in the other additional resources that would become available with the presidential disaster declaration.
Question
You elaborate briefly when you say the right resources for someone who doesn't know. Elaborate on that.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at the scale and the scope of the damage here, we see a number of things, right? We still have power outages, and so is there support that we can bring in to support that? Or the amount of debris that's going to have to be moved, and how do we bring that in? The biggest thing that we bring is financial assistance and help reimburse the costs that communities experience. But if they don't have the capability, we can also bring in other assistance as necessary. And I think the biggest thing is we work with that community to understand how they want to do their recovery and support them in a way that's going to help them along this road. That's okay.
With all the tornadoes in Texas, Iowa, storms that are going on, is federal assistance limited?
No, we don't base it on a single pot of money. We have a pot of money that's dedicated to support this, but we don't have to take into account other disasters that are happening at the same time. We have more than enough staff that are out supporting all of these events already, and we're going to continue to, again, work with the state, work with the local communities that were impacted to understand what their resource requirements are and ensure that we can support that in the best way possible.
We don't know an exact number of
how much money? We're still going through. The state is still doing that assessment, but that doesn't matter, right? We're going to continue. As soon as we have, the numbers that show that it's, beyond the capability and the capacity of a community to really affect a solid recovery, then we'll be able to push that through.
Last question. Sorry, one last question.
How will the uninsured and underinsured be helped through this federal money?
We recently made some changes, actually, to our individual assistance program. And so our program, again, doesn't replace insurance, but it does help support and start that recovery process. I have to say, if and when the disaster is declared by the president, what our new changes will do is they do help the underinsured in a way that we haven't been able to before as it relates to, and it gets very technical, but as it relates to the maximum amount we can give versus how much insurance companies give. I think the biggest thing to know is we can't duplicate the benefit, and so insurance is always your first step. Individuals and families should be reaching out to their insurance agents now and submitting those claims, and if there are underinsured costs that aren't covered when there's a disaster declaration, then that's something we will work with each family on, because we know that everybody's situation is unique and specific to them, and we want to be able to help them find the right resources that are going to support their recovery. And so we take each one on a case-by-case basis to better understand what their needs are and what their limitations are.
Do we have any time frame with disaster declaration? Are we talking hours? Are we talking days?
Yeah, again, we're going to push this through as quickly as possible, and I know that the governor and her team are going to get it to us very shortly.
Thank you very much. We want to thank the city for providing us a location for this press availability and for you joining us today. Thank you. That's the end.
All right, folks, that was just a press conference held in Rogers by FEMA, as we did have Administrator Criswell join us, Deanne Criswell from FEMA, and obviously you saw a lot of praise from local and federal officials here in Arkansas. If you are now just joining us, to quickly recap some information, the press conference began with Greg Hines. He began speaking about the power restoration updates. Obviously, we know that there are still significant power outages experienced by these communities, over 20,000 at last check in Benton County. Things just then passed off to County Judge Barry Mooring, who continued to speak on the collaboration. And this would be a theme that reoccurred several times during this press conference. The collaboration between neighbors helping neighbors, really a powerful theme that underlined this whole press conference. Of course, then things were passed over to FEMA themselves. They said that they have been a part of this survey since the storm first hit, that they have been following the damage on the ground. They've been working with local officials to make sure that the data was properly assessed, that the scope of the damage was properly assessed, considering things like power outages, power lines, also considering debris on the ground. They said that data is still being actively gathered. So that was one aspect of this press conference that we still don't know following it, is how much federal relief FEMA is prepared to offer. They say the local officials are still gathering that data, and that will essentially affect how much federal relief is able to be provided through FEMA. So we'll continue to follow that here on KNWA, as we know local administrators are working to get that declaration submitted to FEMA so that FEMA can then decide that amount that will come back into our community. So this